Story time! So one day this new girl came to school. We'll call her Anna. And Anna was a huge pick-me girl. And for some reason I didn't realize it until later. So I was friends with her for a while. And reminder, I already had a best friend. So a couple weeks went by, and I noticed that me and my best friend started talking less and less. And I was slowly getting pushed out of the picture. This new girl, who at the time I was friends with, was just using me to get closer to my friend. So one day I decided to confront her about it. So I confronted her about it, and then all three of us got into a huge argument, so big that our parents had to get involved. So after we supposedly got that settled out, everything kinda went back to normal. But then one day my parents pulled me aside and said we needed revenge. Like for part 2. Part 2. So we got into this big argument, and we ended up having to get our parents involved. After a while, things seemed to settle down a little bit. But then one day my parents pulled me aside and said we needed to get revenge. I had never heard anything like this from my parents before, so I was pretty shocked. My mom came up with this plan for me to stay friends with her so that I could gather all sorts of dirt on her. And then when she dropped me as a friend, then we would expose her. So everything went according to plan. I was friends with her for a couple months after that. Oh, and my best friend and her parents were also in on this. So then when she got super toxic and ended up dropping us, we exposed her big time. She ended up leaving the school, and everything went back to normal like she never even existed. The end. Story time! So one day when I was in 4th grade, there was a day where people seemed pretty on edge. That morning before I went to school, I asked my mom if something had happened, because people around the neighborhood were staying inside and we weren't allowed to go outside during recess at school. She said that there had been a criminal on the loose in my town. Mind you, my town is really small, so when something like this happens, everyone's on high alert. Anyways, I went to school and just had a pretty normal day. I went to all my classes before lunch, and then me and my friends went down to the cafeteria. So we're all in the middle of lunch, and then all of a sudden, the lockdown sirens go off. So everybody starts freaking out because we have no idea what to do, because our school had never practiced this, and we never thought a lockdown would actually happen. Like for part 2. Part 2. So we're all in the middle of lunch, and then the lockdown sirens go off. And everybody's freaking out because there was no planned drill, and we had never practiced what to do in this kind of situation. So once the teachers calm us down, they tell us to all calmly walk down to the basement of the school. Except there was nothing calm about this. As soon as the teacher said go, we were all running. Because again, we'd never practiced this, we didn't know what to do, we were all scared. So once everybody's in the basement of the school, they lock all the doors and turn off all the lights. And all the teachers and staff are talking over little walkie-talkies. And each grade was crammed into one tiny classroom. So me and the rest of the 4th grade was crammed into this one small classroom, which was at least 100 people. I have no idea how long we were actually down there. I think it was around 2 hours though. But what happened was the criminal had come onto our campus, so they put us on lockdown, so he wouldn't come into the school, and also so the police could get there and arrest him. But yeah, we were all fine, and we went back home and pretended like nothing happened.
Story time! So there was this music teacher of mine. And he was always the nice teacher. I've had him since middle school, and since the high school is in the same building I had him in freshman year too. So after quarantine we got back to school. It was fine at the beginning, but I was mentally not doing so well. The music teacher always made funny jokes, but after quarantine the jokes became more sexual towards the girls. Well, one time he asked me to stay after class, and he just said a few things about my grades, and as I wanted to leave the room, he stepped into my way and got super touchy, and I obviously backed off. Then he went on to say that I could get my grades up by helping him with something. Part 2. I declined and left. After that, I noticed that a few of my girlfriends who had him to have been feeling uncomfy, and one girl said she caught him staring at her butt. But one girl knew he was like that, and undercover filmed him trying to touch her. With that evidence and there being like 10 girls, we went up to the principal and told him everything. The teacher got fired and is not allowed on school property again. Me and the other girls are still pretty traumatized, and we try talking to each other, but it doesn't really help. So was what I and the girls did enough, or should we have done something else? BTW guys, I will be gone for 2 weeks and will not have my phone. So I will not be posting after this. Hope you guys enjoyed the story time. See y'all in 2 weeks.
Would I be the asshole if I didn't buy a new engagement ring? For 5 years now, I, male 26, have been in love with the love of my life, female 25. I cannot express how much I love her and how important she is to me. Oh my gosh! I knew I wanted to marry her shortly after getting together. We're finally financially stable enough, so I decided now is the time. In 2020, my girlfriend lost her grandmother. They were super close and it hit my girlfriend hard, especially because she couldn't have a last goodbye in the hospital due to COVID restrictions. In early 2021, my girlfriend helped her sister move houses. She was wearing a ring her grandmother gave her before she passed and lost it while carrying boxes. This had hit her even more, and even now she will still sometimes cry about this because she feels like she lost the last memory of her grandmother. We had looked for the ring but hadn't found it. On Christmas, my girlfriend had cried again because she missed her grandmother and laminated the loss of the ring. This gave me an idea. She spent the weekend of New Year's Eve with a friend, so I contacted her sister and asked if I could search her house once again for the ring. When I mentioned that I want to use the ring to propose, she was super excited. She, her husband, and my girlfriend's mother, who loved the idea as well, helped me, and eventually we found the ring between some boxes in her garage. Oh my god, yay! I love this idea. That's actually super fucking sentimental and sweet. What the heck? I'm planning on proposing on the 14th, which is the anniversary of our first date, and we always go out to do something nice then. I had mentioned it to my friends who were excited for me, but they had asked about what ring I got, and I told them the story. They called me a cheapskate for not buying my girlfriend a new ring. They also said that it's not an engagement ring. I mean, it really doesn't look like an engagement ring because it isn't. It's a normal silver ring with an amethyst stone. My girlfriend struggled with anxiety, and her grandmother got her one because apparently those stones help with anxiety. They also said it's an asshole move to use the ring someone else paid for as an engagement ring. One friend also brought up that by connecting the ring to our engagement, I might taint its original meaning. Oh, I didn't think like that. Maybe they have a point. Now I don't feel so confident about this anymore. I thought that since the ring has a lot of meaning to her, it might be a good engagement ring. My girlfriend even jokingly said she would be okay with the candy ring because it's the symbolism that counts and not the ring itself. Now I think girls just say that just with anxiety. They also said it's an asshole move to use the ring someone else paid for as an engagement ring. One friend also brought up that by connecting the ring to our engagement, I might taint its original meaning. Oh, I didn't think like that. Maybe they have a point. Now I don't feel so confident about this anymore. I thought that since the ring has a lot of meaning to her, it might be a good engagement ring. My girlfriend even jokingly said she would be okay with the candy ring because it's the symbolism that counts and not the ring itself. Now I think girls just say that just to be nice and not sound like bitchy, but you better not get no girl no candy ring, okay? But now I'm scared I really might come up as a cheapskate and she might not want the ring as an engagement ring, but just normal jewelry. So would I be the asshole here? Okay, no, here's the thing. I think it's a very, very sweet idea to propose with the ring. You should also, I think, have a backup ring, or when you propose to her, tell her like, I know I found this for you, but I want to go take you. If you don't want this, I want to go get you an engagement ring and help you pick it out. I think that's a good Am I wrong for saying my sister probably has a different dad? My mom and my dad are both super white and super blonde. My brothers, 29 male and 23 male, and me, 26 female, are also super white and super blonde. My sister Nicole, 20 female, has pretty dark skin and 3C natural hair. I wish I could just assume that Nicole has darker skin and curlier hair due to some strange genetic glitch, but I can't. My mom used to have a very close friend who would visit when my dad was gone, and he was black. When Nicole was born, her friend stopped coming around and my parents spent a lot of time fighting. Nicole knows nothing about my mom's special friend. Anyway, we were all eating dinner at my parents' house over the weekend, and Nicole mentioned that she wanted to take a 23andMe genetics test. She's 23 and doesn't know that she is not her father's biological daughter. Okay, my parents got really uncomfortable and told her not to do it. My mom started saying that those tests were a government control mechanism, which is something she would never normally say. It developed into a fight between Nicole and my parents ended up storming into the kitchen. Nicole tried to get me and my brothers to side with her. She kept going on about how crazy it was. Mom thought the DNA tests were some sort of conspiracy and that she was adamant she was going to take one. I said, alright, you can take one, but you should know you'll probably find out some stuff you don't want to know. That just made her more angry, and she asked me what she would find out. I said, you'll probably find out that you have a different dad than you've always thought. But she got really mad and went into the kitchen to confront mom and dad. There was a lot of screaming, and finally, our mom told us all the truth and screamed that Nicole probably has a different dad. My dad already knew, but the conversation really hurt him and he went to take a drive. Nicole turned to me and started saying that I was such an asshole for saying she might have a different dad, and if I hadn't said it, our mom wouldn't have had to say it like that. I said that it was her fault that she went and bothered my mom about it and that she couldn't take no for an answer about the DNA tests. Honestly, I do not care if Nicole has a different dad. She's always been my sister and she always will be my sister, but the way she found out was terrible. Even still, I resent the fact that she's calling me an asshole over it, so I wanted to ask here, am I? My take on stuff like this is that you should never hide stuff from your kids. I think at a certain age, both parents should have been like, you know what?
Story of the time I met my biological family. So some of you guys might not know this, but I was adopted. It was an open adoption, so like I knew that I was adopted my whole life. And I always knew my biological mother and her side of the family. I was told from the beginning that my biological father had no idea that I even existed. But then a few years ago, I asked my parents what the whole process was like when they went to adopt me. And he told me that my biological father had to sign away the rights to give me up, which my biological grandma never told me. Mind you, I'm really close to her and she always told me everything that had to do with that situation if I asked, but just not that. So anyway, I look his name up online. Come to find out, he passed away in 2010. So obviously the idea of meeting him was out of the picture completely. But I looked up his last name on Facebook to see if he had any like sisters or other kids or anything. And he had no other kids, but he had a sister. So I messaged her and I said, "Hi, my name is Mia. I'm 15 years old and I'm so-and-so's daughter. I'm not sure if you knew about me, but I thought I would reach out and see if you ever wanted to meet." And she said that she heard that he had a daughter, but nobody ever asked any questions about it, which is kind of sus. Come to find out, him and his family lived 10 minutes away from me my entire life. I could have easily ran into them at the supermarket and never even known. Let me know if you guys want to hear about when I actually end up meeting up with them, because it was definitely an interesting encounter. Story of the time I met my biological family. So as some of you may know, I'm adopted and I do know my biological family on my mother's side, but I never met anybody on my father's side until, recent years. I thought it was because they knew nothing about me, but come to find out they just wanted nothing to do with me. Or so I thought. So long story short, I found out my biological father passed away in 2010. And when I found that out, it was already too late, so I could never meet him anyway. But I found his obituary online and I looked up his family members on Facebook and messaged them. I went more into detail about that in my last video if you want to check it out. But anyway, I find out that his family lived 10 minutes away from me my entire life. So I could have easily ran into them at the supermarket and never have known. Anyway, we set up a day to meet. At the time I was 16, so I definitely didn't want to go alone. So my biological grandma, who I've been close with my entire life, was really excited for me and she really wanted me to meet them. So she took me to meet them. When I met up with them, they were pretty nice and they all kept on telling me how much I looked like him. They told me that there was rumors about him having a child, but nobody knew for sure. And obviously nobody bothered to look into it. I was a kid, so I was really awkward, so I didn't say much. My grandma was doing most of the talking. The craziest thing about this entire situation is that my biological father actually had a nephew. And get this, he has a daughter that's my age, in my grade, whose name is Mia. And he has a son who's a little bit younger, but his birthday is the same as mine. How wild is that? They haven't talked to me since, but it's cool. My older sister has never in her entire 35 or 36, honestly, I'm not even sure how old she is, ever put acrylic nails on. So I decided I wanted to give her her first set and made sure that they were super bougie. I'm sorry, that was really extra, but anyway, I had to obviously prep her nails and her cuticles were so thick. Almost had to pull out, those those hedge trimmers that they use on the bushes. Almost had to pull one of those out. But anyway, I don't know if you guys noticed in the beginning of the video, I probably should have said this first, but she has this formal event that she has to go to, and actually I'm going to it as well. But she wanted to match her nails closely to the dress that she's wearing. And I'm no color mixer maker person, but the purple that I made is kind of similar to the dress, so nobody will really notice unless they're really staring, which they probably will, because these babies came out nice. I don't know why I woke up in such a good mood today. It's November right now. I'm living in New Jersey at the moment and it's 60 degrees outside. Usually by now I'd be pulling out the winter coat, winter boots, and snow shovels. That was dramatic. It doesn't really snow until December or January, but still. Bro, you can't even look at the shape. Look at that shape. Those little squares, I bet you those are some nice 90-degree angles. I don't even know what I'm talking about, honestly. Oh, shit. I'm sorry. I forgot how nice they look. Oh, and the butterflies. Oh, that French, though. Oh, my, you know what? I just remembered. Look how awkward my sister is. Oh. So awkward. What is she doing? She's tickling the air. You guys, people are so dumb. Alright, so I have a story time and it's just making me mad thinking about it. Just to clarify, I'm white. I don't know what it feels like to be discriminated because of the color of my skin. So I need you guys' opinion. I need to know if I have a right to be mad at this. So my new man's or whatever is Guatemalan. He's a snack, just saying. But anyway, we go to this corner store. He gets coffee. We're just chilling, minding our own business. And this man walks in yelling. And at this point, he wasn't talking to anybody in particular. He was just like talking, speaking his mind. And basically what he was saying is that a girl, in which he called Mexican, locked her car door when he walked by because he was black. Then he proceeded to say very nasty things about people who are Mexican. But like this isn't what made me mad. Like that made me mad, but like, bro. So I wasn't standing next to my boy. Yeah, I've never called him my boyfriend before, but like, my boyfriend. Which I'm not sure if that really played a role in this situation, like whether or not I was standing next to him, but like I feel like it does. I'll explain why in a second. But the guy that was yelling points to my my boyfriend and is like, your girlfriend's locking the car door because the color of my skin. She's I was like, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm not in no damn car. Like his girlfriend who? Does he have another girlfriend that I don't know about? No, I don't think so. Thank you. But anyway, my boyfriend was like, I ain't locked no damn door. Like the tough guy he is. No, I'm kidding, but like for real. But he was like, I ain't locked no damn door. Get out of here with that. So like I said, I feel like maybe if I was standing next to him, he wouldn't have thought that he was the girl's boyfriend. Or who knows, maybe he still would have, like, you know? But it's like, how? Like, I don't know if I could even have an opinion on this. Like, I'm not really sure. And I'm not trying to be offensive in any way, shape, or form. Because, like I said, I have no idea what it feels like to be discriminated in this way. So, all I'm saying is, why are you sitting here and telling everybody that you're so mad because you're being discriminated against? And then turn around and then start discriminating my man and acting like he's here with another girl just because she's Hispanic. Like, no, he's with me. He's with me. Like, what the I don't know. I just want to hear your guys' opinion. Like, what would you get mad at that? Like, if your boyfriend I'm sorry, was being called Mexican when he's Guatemalan and being accused of something solely because he's Hispanic as well, like, girl, tell me you wouldn't be mad too. Happy Thanksgiving / Black Friday. So since I'll be going to the mall tonight to go Black Friday shopping or whatever, it reminded me of a very interesting story time. One that still gets me kind of mad, I'm not gonna lie. So I was friends with this girl in high school. She had a lot of hobbies, you know, she liked to do makeup, she was into fashion, she loved to shoplift. By the way, do not shoplift this Black Friday. Please don't. You know how wrong that is? It's wrong. I'm not saying I'm a saint. Well, I'm not saying that I was a saint, but I am now, so don't do that. Anyway, so my parents pick us up. We go to the mall to Black Friday shop. And mind you, there are so many people that go to the mall that was in my area. And this was pre-COVID, so yeah, it was packed. Any store you went in, any place in the mall that you were at, you were around at least 20 people. So, you know, for her, that was good. Because that's a lot of people to, you know, like, cover her. So anyway, we go into Victoria's Secret. And right off the bat, like, I could tell that she was being sketchy. She would talk really loud about, oh, should I buy this one? Which one should I get? Not making herself discreet at all. So I end up getting something. I'm pretty sure it was like a sweatshirt. And while I was waiting in line, she was still like, you know, browsing around. Once I check out, I go to find her. I'm looking around the store. Like I said, there's a bunch of people. I couldn't find her. Then I see her at the exit with a worker walking in and out of the store. And every single time she walked out, the beeper went off. She didn't have any bags on her, so they couldn't check anything. So we leave. I was like, what did you take and where is it? She pulls down her leggings to show me 40 pairs of underwear. Guess who just turned 21 today and spent the entire night doing her nails because she wanted her nails to look cute for her birthday, but now is running off of no sleep? Me. Nah, but I literally stayed up all night doing my nails for no reason. Like, I should have done this last week, but I'm just lazy and I wait till last second and do everything. So here we are. Started doing them at what? 10 o'clock last night, and it's 2:30 in the afternoon right now because it's my birthday and I don't want to sleep on my birthday. But anyway, turning 21 reminded me of a very funny story. Actually, kind of like a life lesson, honestly. So this was like a few years ago. So the store that sells beverages, right, to people who are, you know, teenagers, was a place that I would go often. And I'm not proud of it, and do not do this because you should only be partaking in these activities when you are the legal age. But anyway, I went in there, got some bevs, and brought it to my friend's house to have some fun, you know, just to chill, you know, laugh a little bit, be a little goofy together, you know. But, you know that we had too many bevs when my friend was like, let's sneak some boys in. And I was like, your parents are home and awake, so maybe not. And she was like, nah, let's do it. So she calls them over. By the way, this is her house, not my house. If it was my house, I'd be like, yeah, okay, you thought. But anyway, sneaks them in. 5 minutes later, her dad texts her, who just snuck into my house? I see you on the Ring camera. And she was like, nobody. And I was like, oh God. And he was like, I just saw you. And she was like, Dad, you're seeing things. And he was like, if I come downstairs right now, am I gonna find anyone? And she was like, no. So he comes down and finds 8 boys in the closet. Story of the time I had the police raid somebody's house to find my phone. So the other day, me and my boyfriend were out pretty much the entire day. And you know, whenever I'm with my boyfriend, I don't pay attention to anything else except for him because like, oh my God, I just love him. No, but seriously, I really just was not paying attention. And I didn't realize that I didn't have my phone on me for like 5 hours. So during that time, we went to a restaurant, we went to Walmart, we went to 7-Eleven. We just went to a bunch of places and we were just so in love that we were just not paying attention to anything. Actually, I should say I wasn't paying attention to anything because, you know, I was the one that lost my phone. Anyway, it comes around to like 10 o'clock at night and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna leave now. He's like, okay, where's your phone? So we start looking around, can't find it anywhere. So I was like, wait a minute, check my location to make sure that I didn't like, you know, leave it anywhere. It's probably in my car. We checked the location and I kid you not, it was in a different town than we were in. So long story short, we end up driving to the location that it was at. But it was literally in an apartment complex that we've never been to. So there was no way that I could have left it there. So we came to a conclusion that somebody's trying to steal my phone. And we didn't want to knock on any of the apartments ourselves just in case, you know, like somebody dangerous came out because it was a sketchy area and like we never been there and I don't know. So I decided to call the cops. The cops take like an hour to get there and they knock on the building that it said that my phone was in. So in the building there was 2 people that lived in it, so it was like split in half. And the first people that were downstairs answered the door. At this point it was like 2 in the morning. So the guy starts speaking in Spanish and he's like, don't let them in, don't let them in. But then one of the police officers actually spoke Spanish, so he was like, just because you said that, now we have to come in. So they start raiding the guy's house like for Story at the time I had the cops raid this guy's house to find my phone. So anyway, the cops go up to the guy's door. And like I said, it was an apartment building with 2 people living in it. And the guy said in Spanish to his wife, no, don't let them in, don't let them in. But then one of the cops ended up speaking Spanish. And he was like, all right, well, now that you just said that, we had to come in. So the cops go in, raid the entire house. I start playing the Find My iPhone sound. Like, you know when you lose your phone and you log in to Find My iPhone and then it starts going ding, ding. All of a sudden, we hear the sound. And all you see is just one of the guys standing there in the corner with his hand on his head being like, oh my God. So the cop comes out, ends up giving me my phone. So I said to the cop, what did they say? And the cop was like, it was the owner of a restaurant and he said that you left your phone in there. And he said he took it home with him so nobody would steal it. Questionable, but that's so embarrassing. I'm never going back to that restaurant. Story of the time I quit a job because my boss was extremely discriminatory. I thought I was gonna butcher that word. Oh God. I would say the R word, but like I feel like it would get banned off TikTok, so you know. So anyway, I worked at this place and right off the bat I kind of got weird vibes from the lady that worked there. Like she seemed nice, but she was also like very blunt and like straightforward, which there's nothing wrong with that, except for when you're extremely blunt and straightforward towards like your opinions about things that are extremely controversial. Why can't I speak today? Controversial. Yeah. So, oh my God. I'll just tell you like one story. Maybe I'll tell more in the future, but like I can't even express to you. I get angry. Like I know I'm gonna get angry while I'm talking about this. So anyway, a group of people that spoke Spanish came to the stand and they were just browsing, you know. I was like trying to help them, but they didn't know what they wanted, which is pretty normal. I feel like every single person does that when they walk past the stand in a mall, you know. So they end up walking away, not getting anything, which is, like I said, pretty normal. And the lady goes, I feel like I can't say this on TikTok. She's like, ugh, those people, like, they just never buy anything. Except, like, she said, like, Mexican. And I was like, how do you know that they're Mexican? Because whenever people say, like, really dumb stuff, I always just hit them with, like, a really stupid question. Like, not even a stupid question, like a good question, but one that makes them feel stupid, you know what I mean? And she was like, because look at them, like you could just tell. And I was like, yeah, I don't know about that. I honestly, like, I can't tell. Like, you could tell that they're Hispanic, but like they definitely don't look, you know, Mexican. And she was like, what? That's literally the same thing. Like, what are you talking about? And it's crazy, like, I forgot to mention this, but she literally moved here from a different country, like, a few years ago, so I just, like, don't get how she could be so ignorant, you know? Anyway, we had jewelry imported from Mexico and from Guatemala. So one day this guy comes in, it's, like, right before Valentine's Day, he's like, oh, I had to get my wife something really special because her birthday's on Valentine's Day, and, like, you know, I have to knock both of those events out at once by getting her something extravagant, blah, blah, whatever. So I showed him the jewelry from Guatemala because it was pretty expensive, you know? And the lady's like, did you tell him it's imported from Guatemala? Did you tell him that it's handmade? Blah, 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 whatever. And I was like, oh, which one is it? From Mexico or Guatemala? And she's like, you should know this. This is the first thing I taught you, from Guatemala. And I was like, well, they look the same. Like, how could you tell? And hopefully that made her feel stupid. Story of the time that I was 2 hours away from home and I locked myself out of a car in a toll booth. So I entered a toll booth, didn't have an easy pass, and I didn't have any quarters. So I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna take $1 and then run to the person behind me, ask them if they have extra change, and then, you know, go from there. So I do that, right? He gives me the change, you know, he's like, I'll keep the $1, it's fine, don't worry about it, have a great day. And I'm like, oh, thank you, sir. Run back to the car. Lo and behold, it's locked. I check all the doors, the trunk, everything. Nope. Of course, it was raining that day, so I didn't leave any windows open. Anyway, it was the only toll booth that accepted exact change. Every other booth was an easy pass lane, or it was like an all-round ticket or something that was like $30. So people were really not happy that I was stuck in the front of the line of that toll booth. And oh my god, this one guy, he was like 3 cars behind. I'm telling you, it accumulated a line. People were pissed. Anyway, he gets out of the car, right? Doesn't speak a lick of English. Has a giant beer belly. Probably he's like 6'5". Maybe in his like 50s or something. I don't know what he was. I don't know what language he spoke, but he didn't speak English. He starts like tugging on the door handle. And I'm like, yeah, no, that's not gonna do anything. You know, you need a key to unlock it. And he's like, keeps tugging. I'm like, oh my god. Then he starts opening up the gas cap and like looking inside of it and trying to like press something inside of it as if there's any buttons to unlock the car. Like, what? And then he starts screaming like for part 2.